All right, and we are live. All right, amazing. So thank you for doing this, Jordan. Really awesome to meet you. And
Yeah, awesome to meet you.
I love to start with a simple question that
Sure.
is one of my favorites, and it's this week or these days in your life, what is it like to be you?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm from Vancouver. I I have flexibility in my schedule now, working part time, growing a thriving business on LinkedIn. I've been a social seller on LinkedIn for 5 years. Um, uh, really scaled it to multiple six figures, and really, I mean, it's just about finding the team. Like, we have a LinkedIn agency called the Social Tagger, and we're a team of 11 right now. And so it's like my day-to-day schedule is like communicating with the team, um, making sure deadlines are met, and also just like supporting our clients. But at the same time, I have a wife and a 14-year-old son also, so I get to spend the majority of the time with them here in Mexico. Um, like living in a beach city, it's like absolutely um, a beautiful life that I've created. Of course, I'm not perfect. I have struggles, day-to-day struggles, right? Like just like the rest of the people out there. I'm not perfect by no means. Um, Sales, marketing, whatever is a lifelong journey,
Yeah.
and no matter what, you can always learn any from anyone from any age. You can learn from anyone at any stage of life. You can, like I learn, like I'm principally in sales and marketing, right? I learn from people who are not in sales and marketing all of the time, and that just furthers my business as well. So
Mm.
yeah, that's sort of like the day to day kind of routine that I have. And like, for instance, if my son wants to go to a afternoon movie at 1 p.m., I the majority of work is done on my phone. I only work about 2 or 3 hours a day, um, 5 days a week. So I have the liberty to work from anywhere. As a digital nomad, right? So, uh, yeah, it's just like absolutely amazing life that I've created. And all this is thanks to the freedom that I got through LinkedIn and becoming a social seller there and slash influencer. So, but again, each day has its own struggles. Each day, of course, just like a regular human, right?
Yeah.
I'm not special.
Yeah. And one thing that I like to, I guess, point out from my perspective is like it just becomes life. And I've had this
Mm,
conversation a bunch of times where like from the outside, you outside people might be looking at my lifestyle or your lifestyle like, oh my God, that's this amazing, dream, wonderful. But like when you're actually living it, it's just like, okay, well, this is life. I have to solve these
yeah,
problems. I have to deal with this,
exactly.
and it just becomes it's still living life as a human. It's not like
Yeah,
now I'm in
exactly.
only paradise all the time.
Exactly. It's like I'm Superman. I
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, talking about mindset, I still have like mindset challenges from a little
Mm,
kid. I grew up with a speech impediment. Didn't get real traction on it since I was like 16. I grew up with a disability also, so that really kind of limited my mindset. But from time to time, I'm still struggling with mindset. But I just push through because
yeah,
I have a team to be accountable for. I have my clients to be accountable for. So, and I have my family, which is the most important thing to be accountable
yeah.
for. So, I mean, I don't bottle things in because I'm very verbal about it, but I just every day it's just like pushing the envelope. And when I feel fear, but I just have a good routine and I just adhere to it no matter what, even if
Mm,
it feels uncomfortable. So,
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
Okay. Let's dive in a little bit into your journey and into the story of building your business. I think you mentioned that you started as a solopreneur and then you
Yeah,
moved on to building a little bit of a team.
yeah.
So how did it start? Why did you choose LinkedIn? And what was the beginning? What were the beginnings like for you?
Um, well, it, uh, it all started from when I was in my early 20s. Having passed, I grew up with social anxiety, grew up with people telling me that I couldn't do stuff. I grew up that I grew up with bullies and you name it. It's not an uncommon story. you know, I think every one of
Well,
us have
well,
been
we
bullied,
both
right?
especially, right? Like no, well, not every one
Yeah,
of us, but like me
exactly.
sitting here, I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like it, it's like dealing with that and coming home from school, sometimes in tears and always looking to be guided. That's the thing, always looking to be guided because from day one, since I had the disability from, uh, I had like a little brain damage from when I was a baby. So
Okay.
that really affected my balance, affected my kind of like mental state, affected like basically everything. But then as time went by, and I got the help that I needed. I got a little bit better in coordination. I got a little bit better, and of course, my speech impediment continued when I was like 16, and because uh, I had several years of speech impediment therapy, just like make sure you say this, avoid these words, avoid that, avoid this, avoid that, and so that didn't really work. But then when I was like 15, 16, I worked with a psychologist who also was like a speech impediment therapist, a speech
Hmm.
therapist. So a lot of it, it's in your mind. A lot of it, that's why um, when you get nervous, the speech impediment gets worse. So there's a lot of unblocked things that he unblocked in me. So he kind of like led me astray. But then I got into I wanted a background career, so I studied computer programming. Right now I'm a software engineer. I have my degree in software engineering. I did the background work, um, but it wasn't my cup of tea because it was long hours in front of the computer. It was 8 hour, and I'm like, no, there's got to be something better than this. I got to create a life that I want. So an opportunity in that same company for a sales position opened up, so I just hopped into sales. I struggled, and actually, I remember speaking with a potential lead, and I was in my early 20s, and my speech impediment was somewhat cured, but it came back in that moment. And I'm like, oh, and so the potential lead, I lost the deal, of course, so that really paid a toll on me. But then I got better and better, invested in training, and eventually became a top seller in that company,
Wow.
like many years in a row. So it's like from speech impediment to sales expert. It's like doesn't really jive, right?
Right.
But
That's impressive.
so then um, I continued on that course for like 17 years. So getting different jobs in sales companies and marketing companies, becoming top performer in many of the companies that I worked for. And then opportunity came by working part-time for this massive LinkedIn coach that has over 200,000 followers right
Wow.
now. Um, and he wanted me to help with his sales process. And so I said, yeah, sure. Let's see what I can do. And so I really scaled this company um, from 50K months to 100K months and beyond. And not only that, I coached his clients also. I coached his clients on how to close on LinkedIn. So I said, well, I can do this by myself, you know. And but I was like so wrong, you know. I was like, you know, building a business on LinkedIn is it, it it's very fruitful, but it takes time, right? There's a lot of people on LinkedIn who try LinkedIn and don't get results, right? And so they just leave it. They're like, ah, well, whatever, you know, it's a job search site. Let's leave it at that, right? But but there's like tons of social sellers making millions of dollars every day on LinkedIn, right? So just like to tap in that market and to like decision makers are on LinkedIn every single day. Actually, a statistic from LinkedIn that LinkedIn publicizes that 80% of decision makers are on LinkedIn and actually handle their own accounts. So it's like a really a fruitful way to get directly into the mainstream if you want to deal with decision makers, sales directors, or CEOs, business owners, and to like really develop and cultivate a meaningful relationship with them. And so to make a long story short, what happened is that it took me 2.5 years of trial and error, and then failure, giving up. I gave up like 5 times, you know, but but mostly because I invested in the wrong type of coach,
Right.
you know, one that didn't line up with my values,
Mm,
and I felt like awkward doing it. And so I continued. I'm like, well, it makes me feel awkward because I'm not used to it. I got to do more of it. But then I applied more of the coach, the more people would resist because he was like in your face, push, push, push. Let's get results. Let's make money. Blah 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 blah. Like money, 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 money was like the number one thing on his agenda. While money is important, money is not the most important thing. Freedom is the most important thing, and to make sure that you convey your own uniqueness on LinkedIn to build a
mm,
brand, right? The more you convey your own uniqueness on LinkedIn to build a brand, the more people are attracted to you, the more people want to collaborate with you. And and of course, money comes and goes, right? Um, it's just a part of life. We need to survive. We
yep.
need it for freedom. But I mean, it is important. Uh, I mean, obviously in this world, but it's not the most important thing, right? Relationships, meaningful relationships. Doing podcasts like with you, Andra. You know, it's just like um, this is what matters. Communicating, inspiring people to continue no matter what. You know.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, great story. I really like your points. I like that you shared that you gave up like 5 times and then you kind of like went back to it. Um, Most important thing I would say that I heard that my brain paid attention to is that it takes time. It's an amazing place. Like you said, you can build a six-figure and more business for yourself, but
Yeah.
also you help other people scale on there as well.
Yeah.
But it takes time, right? And
Yeah.
that's the main
Patience.
thing. it
Patience.
it
Yeah.
really does take time, and we live in a world where so many people are promising that, oh, make money quickly here, do this with no experience here, make six figures in
Yeah.
make 6 figures in 3 months kind of stuff.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, like it, it, it's absolutely crazy. Like the the clients that have made 20,000 pounds within 30 days using our services are the ones who have really have their offer dialed in, who can close, who are absolutely a joy to work with, who are like we're working with a couple of LinkedIn influencers with 200,000 followers. One has 20,000 followers, another, but but they really have their offers dialed in. They're powerhouses on LinkedIn. They have big brands. It took them years to build. You know, it just like it's so true. It takes time. Many people offer, oh, in less than 3 months, you can make this amount of money, and it's just not possible, right? I mean, you could probably make uh like maybe um a couple thousand or maybe even more, but not six figures, obviously, right? I mean, it takes time, especially if you're just starting out, and especially if you're just figuring out what you want to do. You need to figure out what you want to do, build an offer that sells, that's proven, and that just takes time for sure.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you're building from scratch. So like the main thing that I see is always start with no experience, no experience. Because so many people, they're just getting into this. However,
exactly.
if let's say you've already built a six-figure business through Facebook, which is also very possible,
Hmm.
and then you say, okay, well now I've built it on Facebook, let me automate a lot of this and expand to LinkedIn, then you can
Exactly.
probably do it really fast.
Yeah,
Right? But like you said,
exactly.
you already have the offer, you already know exactly who you're targeting, you know your brand message,
Exactly.
you know
Exactly.
everything from the
Exactly.
past.
You
The
you have a
experience
proven
carries over.
methodology. I
Yep.
mean, if you have a proven methodology, I mean, it's possible to make six figures on LinkedIn within 3 months, but that's like years and years of like um fine tuning, right?
Yep.
But, like years and years of fine tuning your message. You have an offer that sells like crazy, and yeah, it's possible to make six figures in 3 months on LinkedIn, with a service like ours. But if you're just starting out, it's gonna take like well, depending on your desire, depending on your attitude, depending on your mindset, also depending on, there's a whole bunch of factors that factor in on LinkedIn, Facebook, social media. It's just social media in general when promoting your services, right? Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
What would be your best advice to somebody who's like actually starting from complete scratch? No, actually have no experience, don't really know what they're doing, and they're just like, okay, I wanna build a real business for you. Like I don't want to just make money quickly, but I actually want to build a business for
Interesting.
real.
Interesting. Okay. So so this is a good question because um I got on like three different podcasts last week, and two of them asked me this question, and it's absolutely a great question. I mean, like, my advice is don't change yourself. I mean, many people just starting
Hmm.
out are worried about showing their true colors. You know, they have different hangups in the past, and to have people resonate with your message and with your content, you have to have storytelling skills. You know, you have to convey the emotions. If you use AI, you need to be a pretty good prompt engineer to right to really
Yeah.
convey your emotion in your storytelling posts. But if you don't use AI, you need to be able to revisit those painful moments every time you tell your story. That's the nature of copywriting, right? Because y- like if you're not willing to go to that area, that painful area, then your copywriting will seem a little bit more bland, right? Because you're gonna skim over the emotions because you don't want to revisit them, right? So so like first of all, you need to tell the people how you're feeling during that moment of great distress or struggles, right? And then you want to communicate um, what was the aha moment that changed everything. And then you want to communicate, a lot of people miss this, is you want to communicate that you're not perfect, you still struggle, and you still have these struggles to work with as well, right? So that's like doubly painful for many people, and so many people are are hung up by what happened to them in their past, what happened to them in their childhood. They believe that they're past those moments, but maybe perhaps they're really not, and so that really communicates in their brand message. Um, I mean, do what you have to do. I mean, get help. Go to a psychologist. eh, uh, 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 of course, it may not be that drastic, but I mean, if you find yourself being held back by any of these painful moments in your life, sometimes with your own family, sometimes with your mom or dad or brother or sister, you know, um, people that are closest to you sometimes do wrong things, and sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's not a friend, sometimes it's bullying or whatever. Just try to get past those painful moments, and then try to communicate your unique brand voice, right? Because that's gonna really set you apart, and that's what is really going to have people uh, be
Mhm.
attracted by your message.
Yeah. I really like that you said, because I was like, don't. I think you started with like, don't pretend or something like that. I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? And then you explained really well. Don't try to be perfect, or don't try to be like, hey, only look at me.
Yeah.
I'm this amazing thing. I've done all of
Exactly.
this, and
Exactly.
it, it's
Yeah.
it's really really good to hear that that's how it works on LinkedIn. Um, Especially because there's, on other social media, say Instagram, for example, right? It's a lot about this, like, I've made it, like, look at my
Yeah.
life, I'm
Yeah.
amazing, and
That
then in the background
that's
people are
like the
still
trend.
depressed.
Yeah. Exactly.
In the
Exactly.
background people are still depressed, but they post this amazing photo, like sitting on the beach or something, like, oh, look at me
Yeah.
working from the beach, but like,
Exactly. Exactly. So
so
so so interestingly, like one of my first one-to-one clients that I made 10K from, actually, um, I posted my journey from um, of my trying to get my speech impediment solved. I was years and years in speech therapy. It didn't work. People used to make fun of me. I didn't have my real friends until I was like 15. When I sort of had the confidence to communicate with people, because if you can't communicate with people, you're just with your family and you're just like in the background and you're not making any friends and you feel depressed and like uh, um, you feel like in your shell. You feel sorry for yourself, of course. Like when you're 13, all these emotions, all these new you're experiencing all these new emotions during puberty, right? And imagine that if you can't speak, if you can't communicate, if you feel this way, if you feel that way, and of course your family feels like a support. Of course, I have nothing against that. I love my parents, I love my brother, um, but it just like having that one friend really helped me when I was 15, right? Going through this kind of like um, scenario. And then when I got the help that I needed when I was 16, then it became easier to communicate, easier to be friends and stuff. So um, really like a transitioning from that um, to like all through my 20s really became uh, a like sort of like a transitioning point for me where I can say I can develop meaningful relationships. I can do this. I can do that. And that's sort of like changed my mindset about everything, right? So in that regard,
yeah. Okay, so you were on LinkedIn and you shared this story of,
yeah.
dealing with
Oh, oh,
the speech
oh. So
impediment.
so 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 yeah. I mean, that was like what was the post about, right? About like dealing
Yes.
with that, and
Yep.
then and then and then a mother with a stuttering child came in to my DMs and said, "Hey, really appreciate your post. We got to talking, and then we developed like a meaningful relationship, all because I shared the story. And then, like eventually, maybe 1 month or 2 months um, down the line, she became a high ticket client. So,
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think I've had people come from stories like this. I would say as well, adding the element of time.
mm,
Earlier this week, I had a client sign up to be a private client this week who the first I scrolled all the way, and I operate mostly on Facebook, not on LinkedIn, but like it's I would say it's very similar. Um, we connected with this client for the first message was sent back in 2020. So it
mhm.
took 4 years for this person to be around in kind of like follow my content a bit, and we have a bunch of conversations in
Yeah,
between,
that's true.
right? And then he became a client 4 years later, right? And so some people come in and
Yeah,
they become a client in a
that's
month.
true.
Some people like read a story and they're like, oh, this is amazing. I really want this like now. And some people, they take the time to really get familiar and develop. So it really, the time really builds on it. But it starts with the vulnerable stories, right?
For
I
sure.
think that's a big point for so thanks for sharing that. That's really
Yeah. Y- Yeah, no problem. And for her, um, she was going through some things. We met. She was going through some things with her child. She needed to pay for treatment and stuff like that. So I mean, like in sales, I used to be pushy working for companies. Like one time, I sent like maybe 9,000 emails, right? Cold emails, and I got like 56 calls booked, and everyone was like, "Wow, Jordan, that's amazing! Wow!" And I'm like, "But is it really?" Out of 9,000 people, 56 said yes. That's not very good statistics, you
yeah,
know.
that's
But
wild.
but but thing is that what what really what really messes people up is that you get applauded for pushing. You get applauded for
Mm,
like sort of like pitch slapping, right? And especially in companies. And so my sales process um, is not pushy. I didn't push her. I'm like, yeah, whenever you're ready, it's okay. So she didn't have the cash. I'm like, okay, no problem. Whenever you're ready, it's okay. Just come back to me. A couple weeks before, she's like, "I'm ready to get started on this date," and then boom, yeah. So it's like really um, looking to to solve their problem, really giving them time. So some clients are happy to pay like this, and that's good. But then you really have to give them like time, and there was like 2 months from when we got on chat to when she started working with me, and I'm like, okay, sure. And so in the meantime, just give value, you know, uh, try to help them out as much as possible uh, with your free stuff, and also make your free stuff better than other people's paid stuff, right?
yeah,
the I mean that really helps as well, for sure.
yeah, that really helps. Okay. I really resonate with everything that you're saying. Well, I mean, besides the speech impediment, I really didn't have that bad. But bullying and social anxiety and not being able to speak to people and not being able to make friends, all of that, I very much resonate with. And I built my business based on that as well, right? On my story and on overcoming that. So we have a lot in common in that sense. How was the journey for you, or like let me ask this. You actually already explained a little bit of like your process of starting the business because you worked for the you worked for the other coach,
Yeah.
and that's where you were like,
Mhm.
okay, actually, I think I can do this myself.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing for you about transitioning from being an employee and doing it for somebody else to, okay, now I work for myself, now I'm my own boss?
Well, this can sound cliche, and everybody says it. It's mindset. Um, but but I really didn't get that until I started working with mindset coaches, and in the last year, in the year and a half, I've invested like 40,000 dollars into my personal development. Um, I've worked with like Jeremy Miner. I've worked with Brian Tracy, like sales
Nice.
coaches. I've worked with this psychologist. He's based in Vancouver. He's kind of like a mindset coach. Like he has no social media, uh, uh, but um, but yeah, all these people have really helped me down in my message. Not only that, liberate some kind of feelings that I had about my past. You know, doing it for myself. You know that like doing it for other people was was good. I got a lot of results, but then it's sort of like that kind of moment. You, yeah, uh, I'm not sure if you had like braces before, um, but but it's kind of like that feeling, right? When you get your braces off, you know, it's
Okay.
like as soon as you get your braces off, you feel right. You kind of like feel like a really this weird sensation, just like your whole body, just like because you're so used to have the braces on, and now when you have it off, it's like you know, it's sort of like takes your breath away a little bit, and so um, I definitely had those kind of moments when you um, uh, just like okay, so what do we do now, right? I mean, like I had like standard operating procedures when I was in the coach, and he was doing it his way, so I'm just gonna copy what he does, right? But then guess what happened? I was losing myself. I wasn't communicating. I was
Mm,
communicating his brand message, copying him. I wasn't communicating my own brand message, so it wasn't working for me. I'm like, how come it works for him and not for me, right? Because I wasn't really being true to myself, and I still had personal hangups. First of all, about maybe 3 years ago, I was still preoccupied about what people thought, and mainly I'm 44 years old, right? Oh no, I, I I'm 45 years old, so at 40 or 41, I was still worried about what people thought. I was still um, worried about sharing my story. I was still, you know, like preoccupied about these things, you know, like these things were holding me back. And so it's like, but working with these kind of coaches, um, uh, I know Jeremy Miner isn't a mindset coach, but a lot of his sales material deals with mindset, deals with different strategies, different routines that deal with mindset. So that really helped me, and also working with the psychologist, mindset coach, also. Um, uh, that was about maybe 3.5 years ago. Really untapped like this kind of like it was sort of like a lit off moment, right? Um, uh, Maybe not everybody. Like there's a story about let's say if a flea
yeah.
is in a jar, right?
Yeah.
And it jumps and it hits the lid, right? It's with a lid with a jar with a lid on. It jumps, right? And it hits the lid all the time, all the time, all the time. But then when you take the lid off, it only jumps that high. It never goes higher because it's trained, right? It's trained because it's going to hit the lid. It never jumps out of the jar. It has a lot of capability to jump out of the jar, but it doesn't because, and so I had all these opportunities that I missed big time about 3.5 years ago because I wasn't ready, you know, and so but really investing in my personal uh, journey has really helped me. For others, I mean, they figure it out by themselves, but for me, I needed really that extra help, extra push to um, conquer LinkedIn, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was very much, I would say, like very similar. That I'm 1,000% sure that there would be absolutely no way that I would be able to do what I'm doing now if I didn't hire a coach, if I didn't buy courses and mentoring to learn what am I supposed to do, but also not just the knowledge, but also like how do I deal with this, right? Because
Yeah.
for me, I'm not sure how it was for you, but for me specifically, some of the challenges were I'm from a family of factory workers. Nobody in my family ever had a business. They don't know, so they couldn't. My mindset growing up there was basically the only way to make money is to exchange your hard work in a factory.
Mm,
Everything else is a
that's true.
scam, right? So it was really like figuring out like how can I do this, how can I create value, what does it even mean to have a business or trading mm, value for the money instead of my time like in a factory for the money, like what does that
Yeah.
even mean, right? And then doing the sales and figuring all of that out. And a big part of it was, especially for me, was imposter syndrome, because I was
Mm,
still,
mm,
this is where maybe we had a little bit of a difference, because you
mm.
started when you were about, you said 40, when you started going into your own business.
Yeah. Mhm.
I, s- I was like, I'm going into my own business when I was 19/20. 19, I was
Wow.
trying different things like
Awesome.
affiliate marketing or drop shipping or whatever, trying to, because
Cool.
I felt like I'm not good enough to be a coach yet.
Yeah.
I have to become rich and
Right.
successful in something else
Oh,
first.
that,
And then,
that's true. I can see. I can see why.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then finally, I hired somebody, and she literally asked me, so like you're doing all of these different businesses, what do you really want to do? And I said, well, I want to be a coach, and I want to help people with like social anxiety and their mindset and mental health and personal growth. But I can't do that yet because nobody's gonna listen to my life advice because I need to become rich and successful first. And she helped
Mhm.
me work through that and just like
That's
drop
true.
everything
That,
else. And so when I was
that
20,
that's that that was a big mental block because I mean like for instance, there's a couple uh, of young people like 19 or 20 years old on the Social Tegra team, and we're
okay,
continually learning from them. Like like my co-founder, he's close to 42, but we're continually learning from young people, and um, maybe the aspect that you're only 19, it's like, well, what do I know? People are going to laugh at me or whatever. Probably that kind of, because I, when I was starting my sales journey, it's like, and when I was dealing with clients, I sort of had that kind of mentality going into like a call,
yeah, yeah,
and so, well, I'm 19, who's going to listen to me? I need to get
yeah,
older, I need to get this experience, I need to become rich, I need to and when completely opposite, I mean, like, young people today are know how to hustle, they know systems, they know, like, a lot of my friends are like 20, 25 years old. There's one friend who sells marketing to like car washes, and he's making a killing. He's like absolutely amazing human being. For a young guy, right? And so it's like it's like just because you're young, just because you don't have maybe the experience that people expect you to, you still can give your gift, right? You
yeah,
still have gifts to give, and everyone has a different experience, right? Li- like you at 20 and me at 40, you can learn from me and I can learn from you. I mean, there, there, we can all learn from each other, no matter how old you are, no matter how um, where you are at in your journey, right? We can all learn from each other, and I think that's key in getting past that, kind of like mental block that everyone may have
yeah,
at some time or another, right?
yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, like you said, it's just the mental block. And I think what really helped me is like really getting clear on, no matter what, like no matter what I do, no matter how old I am, there will always be people who laugh at me and who would just like bully me or hate on it and trolls. But there will also always be people who respect it and like, or respect the hustle, and they want to learn. They're going to be open minded, and they're going to be happy to listen, right? And so the trick is to just focus on this group. And it doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 15, if you're 40, if you're 60. Like there, if you're starting a business at 60, there will be people who laugh at you that like, oh, you're too old. If
Yeah.
you're starting at 15, there will be people who laugh at you and they're like, you're too young, right? But it's like, and
Yep. Exactly.
at the same time, there will be people, oh, that's amazing, you're 60 and you're starting your own business. That's absolutely wonderful, good for you. Oh, you're 15 and you're starting your own business. That's amazing, good for you, right? There will be
Yeah.
both camps, no matter what. And so you always just have to focus on this camp. And it really like
Exactly.
clicked for me. That I remember specifically the time that it really clicked for me is very something similar to what you just said. But somebody who hired me, she was, I was 22 and she was 45, and like this was like, I've already been doing it for a couple of years, right? And I've already done a lot of work, but this is when like completely switched fully. She hired me. She paid me at the time like a very high ticket, um, and I asked her why, like why did, you're so much older and whatever. Why did you decide to hire this basically young kid? And she said, well, I hired you because you're so young. Like that's what I'm looking for, because I want the young energy. I want the younger insights. I'm like,
You're
oh,
right. You're right. Yeah.
oh, okay. So like
Yeah.
now it was my
Exactly.
advantage, not my
Yeah.
disadvantage.
That's true. It becomes your superpower because right now, I mean, what when you are older, uh, you get a little bit fed up with the things that take a lot of time, and if you're successful, you you really want to streamline your process and take things off your plate,
Mm,
right? And so that's where young guys come in, right? Is to, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. You just pay me this price and that's done, right? There you
yeah,
go." So,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's really like up until that point, I would say it was more of like I still saw it as somewhat of a disadvantage that I had to like fight against, and that I had to like prove myself in a way or whatever. But since then, it became like, no, like this is actually my advantage. So I didn't have to fight against it anymore. It was just like it's actually better, right? And if you don't
Exactly.
see it, well, you go on your way. I'll find somebody who sees it and who's gonna be like, I want to hire you because you are so young,
Yeah,
and not
exactly, exactly.
despite you are so young.
N-
Yeah.
No, and it was probably that moment, or maybe a little bit earlier, where you had your message really dialed in, because that's why she reached out to you, right? Because, um, let's say if you do a video like, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Andra. You want to work with me?" But then, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Andra. Let's do it." Da, 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 right? It's like you're showing this young energy, and people
Yeah.
find it contagious, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, definitely the young energy. I also see that in my coaching sessions where sometimes like people come in and like, ugh, it's been a hard week and this and that, and then at the end of it they're like, okay, let's go
yeah,
to this next week.
exactly,
Okay, I'm ready to crush it. So it can be
exactly,
contagious for sure. And it's not
exactly.
like I'm like that all the time, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
definitely not.
No, 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 yeah,
I'm
of
definitely
course not.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But,
turning your disadvantages into advantages has been like a definitely big part of my journey, and I think it relates to people. It doesn't matter if it's age or if it's social anxiety or if it's speech impediment. It doesn't like it really doesn't matter what it
yeah,
is. You did the same thing, especially with the client that you pointed out, right? One of your
yeah,
first high ticket clients. You shared your story about dealing with your speech impediment, which used to be like your curse in a way, or like your big
yeah,
disadvantage. But
exactly.
you managed to turn that into an advantage, and by sharing that story, you're now able to like build a brand, and
Exactly.
share your journey and inspire others. So, what's next for you? What's next for you now?
Well, we're always like the social tagger is continually growing and helping people scale on LinkedIn and just being just having wild impact on more people, helping more businesses thrive and scale on LinkedIn. I mean, that's what makes us happy. Like one of our clients, actually, he's a sales coach. He's big on Instagram also. He has 170K on Instagram. Uh, he left LinkedIn, right? He left LinkedIn for about a year. He's like, I'm gonna just build my Instagram and stuff like that, right? But his desire his his desire for LinkedIn just like went up in smoke, right?
Mm,
And, and of course, like he's super successful. Like he knows sales like the back of his hand. He's a sales coach. He helps sales teams, sales people, and so we built up we built up the algorithm. We started posting for him. First of all, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, and then 7 days a week, like a video, 7 videos, repurposing his Instagram
wow.
to his LinkedIn with different like tweaks and different like copywriting techniques that we've learned.
Yep.
And one of his videos went viral. I mean, 3.6 million views on
Wow.
LinkedIn
Wow.
in one video, and with that, 500 followers in one day. With that, he's having like 30 or 40 DM conversations with people right now. He's booking calls. He's closing deals, and so it's like really when our clients experience like this kind of momentum, this kind of results, especially him. He's a young guy. He's only like 27 years old, but he's really really special. I mean, like he has like the drive. He has desire to help people. He he's absolutely amazing. Sales coach as well, right? And so when we see that kind of desire, not only in his eyes, but his his desire to get back on LinkedIn again, it's like
Yeah.
really, really um, makes our journey joyful, right?
Yeah.
That's just like one example of many. We're helping a sales coach right now, also who's primarily on Facebook. His audience on Facebook as well. He uh, his message is absolutely incredible. Also, so we're supporting his LinkedIn journey. He first of all he wants um, like more people for his podcast, and he wants like collaboration chats to set up like some sort of referral business kind of like thing, and also to get clients, right? But and so we've been booking maybe like our service includes appointment setting depending on what the needs are. Sometimes our clients just want to like build their brands and marketing only, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Others want appointments, and that's okay too. But we've been booking maybe 20 calls per month with podcast, with collaboration calls, with potential clients, and so like really seeing the spark reignited for LinkedIn, which is our passion. I mean, it's really really special. It's really really special. Not only because their desire to use the platform, but them desire to reach more people and more impact on LinkedIn through their services and through their message, right? And, and, and I think at the end of the day, that's what people want. They want to help and impact as many people as possible with their message, and
Yeah.
and that's and that's what we help people do.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I mean, three over 3 million. You said 3.6 million views on a video on LinkedIn.
Mm.
That's wild. That's really
Yeah,
impressive. That's really good.
some like at first it was like 1 million, right? Views, and then I sort of like did a post about it. Like, imagine if your video went 1 million views, but then a week passed, and then we're like, what? It's at 3.6 million
Yeah,
views
that's
right now,
crazy.
uh, and so it just like, um, I mean, it just goes to show you like his message is dialed in, his message
Yeah,
is impactful, um, the way he comes across is friendly, and confident, right?
yeah.
So I
And I
think
think
that had a lot to do with it also. Hmm.
I would say also the weight of those views is much more impactful than other platforms because LinkedIn is
Mm,
so professional, because LinkedIn has all of those decision makers, and because LinkedIn is like people take it more seriously. So like 3 million
yeah,
views
that's
on
true.
LinkedIn compared to say 3 million views on TikTok or 3 million views even on Instagram. Obviously, if you get 3 million views anywhere, is can be a huge deal for your business. But I mean, LinkedIn specifically, I would say the impact of
Yeah.
those views and the quality of those viewers or
Oh
the
yeah.
and those people who convert into followers is so
Oh
much
yeah.
higher than say
Yeah.
TikTok.
The no, and yeah, I mean that's a good point, right? I mean, like, like of course, with I mean we're in his account every day, we're managing it for him, so with those 3 million views, of course, like maybe 30 pitch slaps come your way, right?
Yeah,
Hey, blah. His name is Alex, so he's like, hey Alex, we're offering this, da 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 da
yeah,
da 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 da.
right.
Right, of course, it just like natural that that comes on LinkedIn, but then, um, what he's doing is he's for like this had over like maybe 2,300 reactions and over like 100 comments. So what he's doing is he's looking, and this is like a little bit of a strategy that we do also, is he's looking for people who fit his ICP. He's looking for the profiles that fit his ICP in the reactions, in those 2,000 reactions, right? So when what he's doing, hey, thank you for liking my viral post, and da 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 da. Da. Would you be opposed to connect? And then,
Mm,
like, yeah, sure, Alec, let's connect. And then he develops like meaningful conversation, and
yeah,
then see where they're at. Get maybe dig around for some pain points and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, like the key is to be very respectful in the
yeah.
DMs, right? He's extremely respectful in the DMs, right?
Mm,
And and so uh, uh, I mean, leads come and go, right? Like leads come and go, right? But those high quality leads really make a difference, right? Uh, of course, high quality leads, they they have to have the money to afford your services first, and then they have to um, fit the category that you want to work with, and then when you meet them, they have to fit the attitude,
mm,
you know,
yeah,
that you want to work with, right? Because like we have refused deals because like high ticket deals because the attitude of the client, or
yeah,
the attitude of the potential client, wasn't in line with us, right? Um,
yeah,
like my co-founder has a small son, right? And so sometimes his son is on the calls with us, and potential clients calls, and so some people said, "Oh, it's not professional to have your son here." Da, 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 da. And then I mean, like, okay, whatever. I mean, we promote family values, right? We promote family values. I mean, like, we're a family run business, and Not only that, we have a team of 11, like from all over the world, also. But our families are involved in the social tag as well. So we we promote that kind of values, and people who don't like it, I mean, even if they're willing to pay us $1 million, we'd be like, no, you know. But people, but we've been having more business from people who do appreciate, who this aspect of us, who do promote family values as well. So um, it's like really finding out the people who would really work well with you, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's the end of the story right there, is finding those ideal leads that would fit your budget, that have the right budget, that have the right attitude, and have the right motivations. And also, like, you got to figure out what they do and how they help their clients, so that you can help them get results. None of that, help them get their client results also, right? So it's like a chain reaction that
yeah,
happens, right?
yeah,
Because I imagine, um, Ondra, the people that you work with are very successful in business, and also, like, if you unlock their kind of like potential, then that means that they're going to get their clients more results, right, in the future. So it's like this sort of like awesome chain reaction that happens, right? So
yeah, yeah. And I think especially I've had a few rejections, not many, but I think I just haven't been around that much, and I'm not on that big of a scale yet. But I'm sure that there are gonna be more and more rejections and like people who want to work with you. I'm like, I don't think so. Um, but if you do that, then the people who do stay, they will be more, like you said, like loyal customers. They will stay longer. They will have
mm,
better results. They will
yeah,
be more fun to work with. Like you
yeah,
definitely don't want to have nightmare clients.
no,
Um,
no, yeah.
so those are some great points. Those are some great points as well. And yeah, would you have any closing words or closing statements?
Um, uh, well, you know, just just be open to the possibilities of social media. You know, whether
Mm,
you choose Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, um, they all have the potential. You gotta learn the algorithm. You gotta learn what works and what doesn't. You gotta, um, i- but just do one platform at a time.
yeah,
Figure that platform out totally. Like, let's say, um, um, a, a master coach, well, even Jeremy Miner has said this: get at least 5 clients per month coming in from one platform,
yeah,
and then look to expand on another platform, right? Because then, and once you're making that cash, look to for people to hire to manage that other platform, right? Because you, as a business owner, you want to free up your time, right? And as much as possible, unless you want to figure out yourself, unless you're one of those business owners who want to figure out by themselves, and that's more than, I mean, that's more than okay, right? Obviously.
yeah,
But of course, just stick to one platform. Try to get at least 5 clients per month coming in. Switch to another platform. Try to figure out, and just try to relay your message, um, to as many people as possible, right? And results will come by building your brand in the right way, by being honest, loyal to your audience, and also authentic. I think being authentic is the number one thing that you have to do.
yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. It
Hey,
was full of value. Really lovely to connect. I hope we stay in touch. I might
yeah, for
be,
sure. Let's stay
well,
in
I
touch,
think
man.
I'm a big fan of what you said, like stick to one platform for a while and then after you do really well, expand to other platforms. So I will be definitely moving to LinkedIn as I expand within the next few years as well. So
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna be happy to
Well,
be in
well,
touch.
we'd be happy to get on a advice call or in spirit of a
I'm sure,
collaboration
I
and
feel like
stuff like
it
that.
will come eventually.
Yeah, man. Awesome,
Eventually
man.
I think it will happen. So really lovely to
Awesome,
connect
man.
with you,
Awesome.
and
Same here, man. Same here, Andra.
yeah, thanks for the podcast
In the
combo.
meantime, keep on helping. Don't let anything stand in
Yeah,
your way.
yes,
You're young. You're fun. Your energy is unmatched, and so just keep up your spirits and keep on helping people and impact as many people as
thank
possible,
you,
man.
thank
Yeah,
you. Lastly, there is one person I would love to connect you with. He's one of my
sure.
mentors. He's mostly on Facebook as well, and he's done very well. He has a huge community of entrepreneurs from all over the world. He has a family of six now. He just recently had his sixth child, so a
Awesome,
huge,
awesome,
huge family.
awesome,
Big
man.
on family values. I think you two would vibe very well, and there
Awesome.
might be some potential
Yeah,
collaborations or some
yeah.
synergies. So I would
Wonderful,
love to make the
wonderful.
introduction,
Yeah, sure.
and
Yeah,
he'll tell you more about what he does, and I'll bridge the gap a little bit with a voice message if you're open
sure,
to that.
man. Yeah, completely,
And yeah,
completely open,
we'll
man.
be perfect. And yeah, we'll be in touch. This has been lovely. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man.
And
Really enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
lovely. All right.
Awesome, man. Bye bye.